Talk a little bit about what the suspension means for Nichushkin, the Avalanche, so our legal expert Whitney Traylor, not a student of the NHL collective bargaining agreement, but you've been looking into it a little bit. So let's talk about what you do know at this point.
Yeah, I got up to speed on the collective bargaining agreement and the players' assistance program, and what it looks like is, as you said in the lead-in, that there was a violation of stage 2 because you only get into stage 3 if there was a violation, and that's a minimum of 6 months. So we don't know. There's a confidentiality provision, which in many professional sports, they have these arbitration provisions and things where they keep the confidentiality. So we don't know exactly what went on, and we may never know, maybe, but we do know that it was a violation of stage 2, and so it's a minimum of 6 months that he'll be out, and then he'll be eligible for reinstatement. And this is without pay.
Eligible
for the 6 months.
Yeah, not necessarily reinstated.
That's correct, and that's going to be a different process than even the team, because you'll have the eligibility for reinstatement through the collective bargaining agreement, the NHL, and then whether the team keeps him or not, what was in his actual individual contract, has he violated that? But we don't know what actually happened. It's not being publicized.
Yeah, they've been so quiet about it. They did a year ago as well, same thing. But when you talk about this, what can the Avalanche do legally, like as the team? I mean, you want the best for this person.
Yes.
This happened an hour before game time, and it really is having devastating impacts.
And the second time it's happened. So what the team can do, it's a good question. Right now, we don't, they can't do anything really. I guess there's not a salary issue because this is unpaid. But once he gets out of the program, that's where the real question is, because I think he's in his second year of an 8-year contract.
Right.
And it's essentially $6 million each year. So whether they hold on to him is a question, but first we have to figure out how long he'll be out, and then secondly is so that may relate to the salary cap if they keep him, if they try and trade him. Trying to trade him now where he can't even play is going to be a tough issue. So and then next year in his contract he has a no trade clause preventing him going to at least 12 different teams. So that's, I mean, I think the Avs are in a really difficult position because they don't know, and I think it's hard to plan for next year when you don't know if you're going to have your star forward.
Yeah, it seems like most experts say they can't get out of the contract, but some people are saying, you know, there is a conduct detrimental clause that's in almost every contract.
Correct.
That people have when you sign a deal.
Yeah.
And, you know, this might fall into that, but it sounds like that might be a stretch for the team.
Well, I read a couple articles where they said the same thing, but I don't know. I wouldn't presuppose that because, again, we don't know what it was. Was it drug-related? Was it mental health? Was this a repeated violation? So it could be conduct unbecoming, and then they'll have an argument per the contract, and a lot of times they settle in those instances, but so they may not be on the hook for the full $6 million. Maybe they settle and pay him something each year, or maybe they bring him back or try and trade him.
You know, I think teams are afraid to use those clauses because there are other players you might acquire or want to acquire who will say, well, you guys aren't.
This guy did this.
And you guys kicked him out. You guys just voided his contract.
Yeah.
I wonder, though, in this case, because it is multiple times that they have helped Valeri Nichushkin before this.
Yeah.
And that others might be a little more empathetic to the team. You know, if you're an agent or a player going, I understand what you did there.
And especially the timing of both situations in Seattle and now here in Dallas, both at the playoffs, and he had to step out. And it does kind of raise the juxtaposition about the mental health. The player is human. I mean, these are young guys. People are saying they get paid millions, but they're young. They're under an enormous amount of pressure. They're human. We don't know what's going on. But at the same time, yeah, we have a job to do. This is a business, and you know that's kind of the rub. But I think you know the team, at least the coach, he showed some empathy. I think the players were rightfully frustrated. So I think it's going to be hard to do anything with him, though. I mean, first we have to see how long it is. It's a minimum of 6 months, so that puts us into November. Yeah.
So. And then you just never know. I mean, yeah, it's that confidentiality, but everybody on all sides is in a really tough spot right now.
Well, that's the thing. It's a very complicated story that we don't really know many of the important details about. But thanks for kind of taking a peek at it and seeing what some of these options might be.
It was a good learning experience.
All right. Thank you, Whitney.